Welcome to the Digital Advantage Podcast, your go-to library for business and personal digital resources. Today, we're diving deep into a blog post from referenceranger.com. This one's titled, Hosting Your Web Hosting for Startups and Small Businesses, a 2025 in-depth review.
Yeah, you shared this with me, and it's a really solid piece. Looks like it covers a lot of ground for anyone trying to, figure out web hosting.
Hmm,
So our mission today really is to unpack this review, pull out the most important bits, and help you figure out if Hostinger might be the right choice for your website.
exactly. Whether you're launching something brand new, maybe scaling up what you already have, or even if you're just kind of curious about the options out there.
Hmm.
And, what really jumped out at me from the start of this post is how much it emphasizes the website itself. It's your digital front door, isn't it?
Totally. First impressions count, online especially.
Right. And the blog post makes a great point. Slow or unreliable hosting. That can just kill your momentum. It even mentions some stats about how website performance affects credibility.
Yeah, people just won't wait around if a site is slow. It reflects badly on the whole brand.
Precisely. So we're not just talking tech specs here. This is about building a successful online presence.
Go.
And this blog post promises a really thorough look at hosting or pricing, features, speed, security, support.
And comparing them to the big players too, like Bluehost and SiteGround. That's always helpful context.
Definitely. Okay, let's get into it. Hosting or at a glance. What's their background according to this review?
Well, the post traces them back to 2004. Apparently, they started with a pretty clear goal: make web hosting affordable and simple, particularly for startups.
Okay, so that focus was there from the beginning.
Seems like it. And they've obviously grown massively since then, millions of users, over 150 countries mentioned. But that core idea of being budget friendly and easy to use, that seems to have stuck. Their reputation, according to the blog post, is built on, well, low prices, but also decent performance and tools that beginners can actually get their head around.
That makes sense. And the post highlights they're really targeting startups, small businesses, freelancers, folks like that. Not so much the massive enterprise clients.
Yeah, it seems like a conscious choice to serve that specific market segment.
So, based on what the blog post says, who really benefits most from using Hostina? Who's their ideal customer?
The post leaves out a few profiles. First, if you're launching a new business, maybe bootstrapping, and you need something solid but really low cost to get online, Hostinger looks like a contender.
Right, keeping those initial costs down.
Exactly. Second, e-commerce startups. Speed and security are vital there, obviously, but maybe you don't have a huge budget yet. So Hostinger could fit.
Okay.
Then you've got bloggers, freelancers, people who maybe just want easy WordPress integration, simple setup.
Less technical hassle.
Precisely. And finally, really, anyone who needs a professional-looking website without needing, a computer science degree or spending a fortune, they seem to hit that sweet spot. Reliable enough, but accessible.
That's a really useful breakdown.
Hmm.
Now, the post also mentions the different types of hosting your offers. Can you give us a quick rundown of those?
Sure, they start with shared hosting. The blog post points out this is like the classic starting point. Your website shares server resources with others, keeps the cost way down.
Good for blogs, small sites.
Yeah, perfect for blogs, portfolios, maybe smaller company sites that aren't expecting huge traffic right off the bat. Then there's VPS hosting, virtual private server. Think of it like having your own dedicated section of a server. More power, more flexibility, because those resources are guaranteed just for you.
So better for growing businesses.
Definitely. Or websites running specific applications, busier online stores, sites with more traffic. The blog post suggests it's a good step up. Cloud hosting is another one. This spreads your site across multiple servers, the big advantage. Reliability and scalability. If one server has an issue, others pick up the slack.
Ah, good for unpredictable traffic then.
Exactly that. Or anything that needs a lot of resources and can't afford downtime. And lastly, they have managed WordPress hosting, which is, well, pretty self-explanatory. It's optimized specifically for WordPress sites.
So easier setup, updates, security for WordPress users.
Right. Things like automatic updates, maybe special caching. It just streamlines running a WordPress site.
Okay, so quite a range. And the blog post keeps coming back to this idea of affordability without totally sacrificing speed or uptime. They mentioned their own control panel too, H-panel, and 247 chat support.
Yeah, those seem to be key selling points for them, trying to make it affordable and user-friendly.
Let's dive into the pricing then. Always a big one, especially for startups. The blog post says Hostinger's prices are some of the lowest. What plans did it detail?
Okay, so for shared hosting, the blog post breaks it down into three tiers: single, premium, and business. The single plan is like the bare basics. Good for one website, comes with some storage, includes a free SSL certificate, which is crucial.
Oh, yeah. SSL is non-negotiable these days.
Absolutely. And it has managed WordPress features. So, okay, for a really simple site or personal blog, moving up, the premium plan gives you more storage, more bandwidth, lets you host multiple websites, and importantly, the post notes, you get a free domain name for the first year.
Ah, that's a nice perk. Saves a bit extra.
It does. Premium also adds weekly backups, so better suited for businesses needing a bit more room, maybe multiple sites. Then the business plan builds on that. Better performance, more processing power, daily backups instead of weekly.
Okay, daily backups are much better for peace of mind, especially e-commerce.
For sure, and priority support. So this one's geared towards e-commerce, growing sites that need that extra robustness and faster help. That free domain is also included here for the first year.
And what about those WordPress-specific plans the post mentioned? How do they differ?
So the blog post explains they basically line up with the shared hosting plans in terms of structure and price. Single, premium, business for WordPress too. But they come pre-configured with WordPress optimizations. Things like light speed caching, which the post says can really speed up WordPress sites.
Faster loading, always good.
Definitely. And one-click staging environments that's super useful, lets you test changes safely before pushing them live. Plus, automatic WordPress updates.
So if you know you're using WordPress, it makes sense to go for one of those tailored plans based on the review.
Yeah, it seems like they offer some tangible benefits for WordPress users specifically.
What about the more powerful options, VPS and cloud? What do the blog posts say about who needs those?
Right, so VPS, as we touched on, gives you those dedicated resources. The blog post emphasizes you get root access.
Meaning more control for tech-savvy users.
Exactly. You can install custom software, really tweak the server environment. So it's aimed at, complex applications, high volume online stores, sites with consistently heavy traffic, cloud hosting with its distributed network. The key benefit highlighted in the post is that reliability and easy scaling.
Adapting to demand easily.
Right. If you have big traffic spikes or run apps that need a lot of power and constant uptime, the post positions cloud hosting as a really strong choice because of that redundancy.
Okay, now the elephant in the room with budget hosting, cost versus long-term value. The post mentions that super low intro price, like $2.99 a month for premium shared sometime, that undercuts Bluehost and SiteGround.
Yeah.
But what happens after that first year or so?
Yeah, that's a critical point. The blog post definitely flags. Those introductory discounts are really tempting, especially for startups.
Absolutely.
But you have to look at the renewal prices. The post warns that after the initial term, the cost per month can jump, sometimes quite a bit.
So that 2.99 cents doesn't last forever.
Nope. It's designed to get you in the door. So while Hostinger can be super cost-effective initially, the blog post stresses you need to factor that renewal cost into your long-term budget. It doesn't mean it's a bad deal necessarily. Even renewals can be competitive, but you need to go in with your eyes open.
That's crucial advice.
Yeah.
Total cost of ownership, not just the flashy intro offer. Okay, let's shift to features and benefits. Speed and uptime, always top of the list. What does the blog post say Hostinger delivers here?
Well, the post mentions a 99.9% uptime guarantee. That's pretty standard, reassuring you the site will likely be online almost all the time.
Almost. 99.9% still allows for a little downtime over a year.
True, it's not 100%, but it's a common industry promise. More impressively, perhaps, the post cites average loading speeds under 300 milliseconds.
Wow, that is fast.
It really is. And super important for keeping visitors happy and for SEO, as the post notes. They attribute the speed to using Lightspeed servers and having built-in caching.
And the post connects the speed directly to user experience and even e-commerce success, right?
Absolutely. Slow sites lose visitors, hurt search rankings, and can directly impact sales if you're running a store. So speed and reliability are fundamental, not just nice to haves.
Definitely. What about ease of use?
Yeah.
The post mentioned that custom H panel. How does it stack up for non-techie folk?
The review seems quite positive about H-Panel. It describes it as clean, intuitive, easier to navigate than the traditional cPanel many other hosts use.
Less cluttered, maybe.
Seems that way. Clear menus for domains, databases, email, and the post highlights things like one-click installs for WordPress and SSL certificates. The goal seems to be simplifying website management.
Those one-click installs sound like a lifesaver for getting started quickly. Anything else the post mentioned on ease of use?
Well, beyond the one-click stuff for WordPress, WooCommerce, etc., the blog post also talks about storage and bandwidth. The basic shared plan has a limit, 50 gigabit SSD, according to the Post, but the premium and business plans offer unmetered bandwidth.
Unmetered, meaning you don't have to worry too much about traffic spikes.
Generally, yes. It means they don't strictly tap your data transfer, which is great if you suddenly get popular or run a campaign. Less worry about slowdowns or extra fees due to traffic, which definitely adds to ease of mind.
And for businesses that do get popular, scalability.
Hmm.
Does the Post say it's easy to upgrade within Hostinger?
Yes, that's highlighted as a plus. The blog post mentions you can smoothly upgrade from shared hosting to their VPS or cloud plans without needing a major migration project.
Ah, avoiding the hassle of moving everything to a new provider. That's a big deal.
It really is. Saves time, potential downtime, compatibility headaches. So that internal path for growth is a definite advantage noted in the review.
Okay, sounds pretty good so far. Let's probe a bit more on performance and reliability. We know they mentioned lightspeed in global data centers. Did the blog post offer any concrete benchmarks or comparisons?
It did mention those global data centers help speed things up by keeping content closer to your visitors, and it reiterated light speed and caching. Crucially, the blog post refers to some 2024 performance tests. Apparently, these showed Hostinger hitting average response times under that 300 meters mark.
And how did that compare to competitors in those tests?
According to the Post, Hostinger often came out looking pretty good, comparable, or sometimes even faster load times than Bluehost, and frequently competitive with SiteGround too, depending on the region tested.
Okay, so some data to back up the speed claims. Now, security. Can't ignore that.
Yeah.
What measures does the blog post say Hostinger has?
Security seems well covered in the review. Free SSL certificates on all plans, that's a must-have checkmark.
Definitely, for the little padlock icon and encryption.
Exactly. The Post also details DDoS protection to fight off malicious traffic floods, plus firewalls and network monitoring. For backups, it mentions weekly on the entry plans, but daily on the premium and business shared plans, which is much better.
Daily is definitely preferable.
Yeah. And the Post also notes malware protection and Cloudflare integration, adding extra layers of security and potential performance boosts.
Sounds like a decent set of security basics are included. Okay, what if something goes wrong? Customer support. What did the blog post find?
So the review states Hostinger offers 204/7 support, but primarily via live chat and email.
No phone support then.
That's a key point. The blog post highlights no phone support currently. That could be a deal breaker for some people who prefer talking to a person.
How's the live chat though?
The post suggests it's generally quite responsive, often getting back to you within minutes. Email support is noted as being slower. They also mention a detailed knowledge base for self-help, which is always useful.
How did the post compare their support to Bluehost or SiteGround?
It briefly touched on it, noting Bluehost and SiteGround do offer phone support, but it also suggested Hostinger's chat might be faster than Bluehost sometimes. SiteGround is often prized for expertise, the post implies, but usually comes at a higher price point overall.
So, a bit of a trade-off there. Faster chat maybe, but no phone option. Makes sense. The blog post probably wrapped this up with some pros and cons.
It did. Pretty concise summary based on the review. Pros were the affordable pricing, solid speed and uptime, the beginner-friendly H panel, and free SSL included.
And the cons.
Main ones flagged were no phone support and those renewal prices being significantly higher than the intro offers.
Right, the renewal rate issue again.
Yeah.
And the comparison table with competitors. Any key takeaways there?
The main points from the comparison seem to be Hostinger often wins on the initial price point. Uptime is generally good, maybe slightly edged out by SiteGround according to the post, but comparable to Bluehost. Speed-wise, Hostinger often performed better than Bluehost and frequently matched or beat SiteGround in the tests mentioned.
And the support difference being the main channel thing, chat mail for Hostinger versus phone chat for the others.
Exactly. The blog post presents it as a choice based on what you prioritize. Lowest initial cost and speed, or perhaps phone support and potentially slightly higher uptime guarantees elsewhere.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Based on this deep dive into the referenceranger.com blog post, what's the bottom line? Should someone choose Hostinger for their startup or small business?
Well, the conclusion from the blog post seems to be that Hostinger is a really compelling option, especially if your main priorities are affordability, decent speed, and something that's easy to use, particularly when you're starting out as a startup, blogger, or small biz.
The scalability options are a plus too, as you mentioned.
Definitely. Knowing you can grow within their system is valuable, but as the post points out, if phone support is absolutely essential for you, or you need like the absolute pinnacle of uptime guarantees, maybe look elsewhere.
But for many, it sounds like a strong contender.
Yeah, the balance of price, performance, and usability seems to hit the mark for a lot of users described in the post. And they highlight the 30-day money-back guarantee too, so you can try it fairly risk-free. And, for more reviews like this, diving deep into digital tools, the blog post encourages readers to check out referenceranger.com for more resources.
Absolutely. We hope this discussion, breaking down that referenceranger.com blog post, has given you a much clearer picture of Hostinger and whether it fits your needs. Remember, choosing that right foundation, the right hosting, is just so important for your online success down the road. And for more curated digital resources for business or personal use, do make sure you visit referenceranger.com. Thank you for listening to the Digital Advantage podcast.